Good morning and welcome to today's webinar on the Shortcuts Daily Checklist. My name is Richard Ackerman and I've been working with Shortcuts software for the last 10 years and I've been an educator for Shortcuts for about the last 5 years. Now today we're going to start off with a little bit of housekeeping here. We need to make sure that your speakers have been turned on so that you can hear this webinar. My microphone has been turned on but everybody else has been muted. And then today's webinar should be approximately 25 minutes with a 10-minute time at the end for question and answers. Today's outcomes we're looking for is we're going to look at our best practices for opening and closing procedures, the must-have details for updating client records, and the Shortcuts reports you should be running for daily, weekly, and monthly reports. Now to begin with our opening procedures, we're going to take a look at doing our start of day, which is what we use every morning to open up our drawer. Without that, we won't be able to do any transactions for the day. So I'm going to show you this here very quickly. It's very easy. Here in Shortcuts, we come under Main, and under Main we'll go to our point of sale. Now here in the point of sale at the very top, you'll see a little button that says Transactions. Take a look at that, and at the very bottom, see a little red siren says start date, and this is what we use to open the drawer with. I'll click on that, and we just need to verify that our float is what we have counted. If it is not, we can change it. I can click on the float here, click on it again to make any changes. If it's not the same amount, maybe it's $95, there was a bad count from the night before, or there was extra money, I can change that. I'll just make that 101 for today. Okay, and now anytime I choose done, anytime I make a change, Shortcuts is going to want to know why I have changed the float, and that's fine. For today, I'm just going to put in the webinar because that's what we're doing today. And we choose done, and now we're ready for our actual transactions for the day. All right, now, what should we do first? Well, we want to make sure that everybody is clocking in and clocking out. All right, now if this is not being done automatically when you use your PIN number for the first day, then each employee is going to need to go under Performance and find their name and choose the Clock On button, which we'll take a look at. Also, we want to make sure that we have prepared our CPC folders, which are client profile cards for each team member for who it is that they're going to be seeing that day. Also, we're going to print out an appointment page so that we can post that in the break room. And again, this is all done to help avoid reducing congestion up at the front desk. And finally, you want to make sure that you're confirming your appointments for the next day and using the text me confirmations where you can. Now we'll take a look at doing our clock ins and clock outs. So under Main, we go to Performance. Here we'll see all of our employees. We'll simply choose our employee. Today I'll choose Janelle. And we choose Clock On. We accept our time and we choose yes. And we come back to our appointment page. We'll see that there's now a clock by her head, letting us know that she's here. This is very good, even though she may only be commission and may not be hourly, so that the receptionist can know when she's actually at her chair. Also, we need to make sure we are printing out all of our information for the employees that day. I'll double-click on Janelle, and when I do, we get some printing options. The first one is the daily appointment page, which is the entire appointment page for all employees. We print that out, put it in the break room. And secondly, we want to print out, the employee schedules as well, which means each individual employee will have their own printout of all of their clients they're seeing that day. And this, again, will help out. You can put this by their chair so they can take a glance at it during the day to find out who's coming next. And finally, the CPCs, which is the client profile cards. This is great information for each employee to have on their clients so that they can see what it is they've purchased before and perhaps maybe help them to purchase any new products or new services. Okay. Now, and that will be the best thing for our opening. Now, for closing, we want to take a look at some pre-closing procedures here. First of all, we want to make sure that we're adding in our clients. Okay, this is going to be done throughout the day. We want to make sure that all of the client information cards have been, the information has been entered into Shortcuts, that those client information cards have been wiped clean and are ready for the next use. Also, at this point, we want to print out tomorrow's appointment page and get that ready to be posted in the back room, and the CPCs for all of our employees for the next day as well. And finally, you want to do your checkout procedures for any professional products that may have been used up that day, color vials, any kind of hairspray containers, or anything that you may have used during the day that have now been pretty much emptied out. We'll take a quick look at that here. So adding in a new client, very simple to do. Under main, we come into clients and we always hit our new button. New ads, at any time we want to add something, we always choose the new button. Now here you want to make sure you're having the first name and last name. They're mandatory. That's why they have stars by them. You have to have them. You also have to have at least one phone number. Now they're not starred because you get to choose which phone number you'd like to use. We prefer the cell number because that's what we can use for our text me confirmations. Also, email is important. If we can get the email, that'll be great because we can use that to do our email marketing. Go ahead and close out of here. Now also we want to make sure that we are checking out all of our products that we have used during the day. Again, this is done in the point of sale. We use a very special client. Come up to the top left, we click on clients, and we choose business because this is a business transaction. We're using it only for the business. And now we can either scan the product or I will do it manually. I'll click on an empty line here. I'll choose business because it is a business transaction. And we'll use Bonita Banana because that's just the one we have here at the top. Here we know $32 is what the normal price would be. However, because I'm selling it to myself back in the business, as I take a look, the price comes up at $0 because I'm not selling it to myself for a marked up price. We're merely reducing the inventory and keeping a track in our reports so we can see how much usage we've had for our various professional products. And we'll go ahead and remove that for now. Now, our closing procedures, we want to make sure we're running the end-of-day wizard, which is what we use to help count the drawer down with. We want to confirm that each member has clocked off. If they haven't, we need to make sure they either have clocked off manually or if we have it enabled in Shortcuts, when we run the end-of-day, it'll be clocked off automatically. And to do a Shortcuts backup and to secure the flow with the backup. We'll take a quick look at this. So the end of day, remember under main, we go to point of sale. And again, we go just like the start of day. We go back to transactions. And instead of using start day, we'll use the end of day. When I click on that, we'll see there's our float. Remember, it was 101 because we made that change this morning. We choose next. And it says there's no been transactions today. There's been no transactions. That's fine. We know we're just doing a demonstration today. Now here we get to put in the actual denominations, okay? And I always like putting in the count, not the value, because this helps to reduce counting errors. So if I said there were 15 $5 bills in my drawer, I put in 15 and automatically calculates it for you. And we can do that for all the bills and the coins and so forth. And we'll go ahead and we'll put in $26 for ones. We can also put in checks in our credit cards as well. And once our total values are in, we choose next. And get a little warning message just letting us know that if we go past this point, we just have to finish the end-of-day process. Now, it doesn't mean that if we made a mistake, we can't come and change it, but it does mean we have to finish what we're doing. So I'll choose yes to move on, and here I get to see what my count was, what the expected was, and was there any difference. Now, this time we've actually balanced, which is a very good thing. If we didn't balance, for any reason, if we were off by even a penny, down here we have to put a comment in. And today's comment, I'm just going to put in webinar. Now, usually the comments for your receptionist, because they don't have total access and security, they may identify individual transactions that they had problems with, ones that may need to be deleted or adjusted because they were rung out incorrectly. Once I have my comment in, I'll choose next. Now here is where I get to determine, do I want to keep the float I have or do I need to make any changes? Now I don't want to have 101. I like $100, and that's what I'm going to say is going to be in my float for tomorrow. And we see that we have a cash to be bank of $1. That took $1 out of the float, so that has to go to the bank. Now finally on step 5 is where we get to print out all of our reports for the night. We prefer that we do the session till drawer balance and the trading summary. Now we'll take a look at those in a few minutes. Now the business log is really not needed on a daily report because this is just a security report letting you know who logged in to Shortcuts with their PIN number, where did they go, and what did they do. So unless you're really looking to investigate something, it's not really needed for a nightly report. Okay. Once we have them printed, then we choose Finish. And now the end of day is completed. Please remember that once the end of day has been completed, no more transactions can be done until you go back to the start day and open the drawer again. Okay. Now, also, we're going to take a look. Oh, that's right. I want to take a look at doing the actual backup, which is very easy to do. Okay. Now, what we do is come under Tools, and we choose Backup, which I already have listed here. Now, we get to see here that we have our backup that we saved to the D drive. We want to make sure that this is something other than the C drive. The C drive is the hard drive. We want to make sure that it is not there. okay, because we're trying to get it off of the actual hard drive. If you have to change it, we go to Advanced, we go to Browse. Now my D drive is my flash drive. It says Kingston. Yours might say a removable disk or a scan disk, something like that. Whatever it is, something other than the C drive. Okay? And then all we have to do is simply choose Backup Now. As you can see, my backup has been completed. Once it's done, we can remove the flash drive, and you want to secure it with your float at the end of each night. Now here, the must-have client details. Remember we talked about what was mandatory, being the first name, last name, and at least one phone number. Again, we prefer that the cell number is the one that we're using because we can contact them through our text messaging. Also, email is very important because we want to make sure that we can use that to do future marketing with our clients. Now, we have some reports here that we're going to take a look at today. Our daily reports, again, the trading summary, the session till balance, and the visit notes. Weekly reports, we're looking at the employee weekly down, the employee hours, and the hours by schedule type. And finally, for our monthly reports, we're looking at the service breakdown by category, client retention, and product sales summary. And we're going to take a look at those now. Okay, so the first one we're going to take a look at today, okay, is just I'll go ahead and get this set up here, make it a little easier for everybody to see. Okay, so the first one we're going to take a look at is going to be the session till balance. Now, this is going to look at us about the count we did at the end of the day. Okay, so here we get to see, for the end of the day that was done, we choose which time the end of day was run. Do we want to see? In this case, we see, when they started, when they finished. Johnny was the one logged in. It didn't balance, and it took him only 2 minutes. We see that there's no float, so apparently he's just running this, with no money at all. And he had 2 attempts. Now, remember we said that if you didn't balance, you had to put a comment in. We'll look at that. But if they make a couple attempts to balance, if they see that they didn't balance directly, they can hit the previous button to make any changes if they recount the drawer. Anytime they hit the previous button, additional attempts are added to this report automatically. Now, because he didn't balance, he didn't do a very good job at it, he's going to have to put a comment in. As we can see here, this comment obviously is not an appropriate comment. If he's going to be off by that much, we're going to have to go to him and find out what the problems were. And again, this is something we're going to want to take a look at on a daily basis. The next one is going to be our trading summary. And here we get to see in the trading summary, it tells us all about our sales, how much we had in sales for cash and our credit cards and checks, percentages to the bottom line. How much do we do in services or in products, for the totals here as well. Gift certificate and series sales, redemptions for both gift certificates and series are here as well. If there's been any refunding, we'll see that too. Section here on clients, how many clients did we have? Were they new? Were they returning? Were they walk-ins? What were their genders? Again, just great information here. And at the bottom, you'll be able to see your employees. Now, here with the employees, if the employees did not have a sale, they will not make the report because we're not going to put a bunch of people in that didn't have any information. Okay. Now, the final one is going to be, and I will take a look at it here. All right, now the final is the visit note reminders, the last of the daily reports. Now here, the visit note reminders, these are things going to be like when we have our color formulas or any kind of procedures that we, for perms, relaxers, anything that we need as a formula or anything that we have to keep for our clients on individual services. As you can see here, we get to see our employees here, and we get to see the clients that they serviced, what the service was, how long has it been since we've actually updated those notes. So obviously, 33 days, we probably want to take a look and make sure that that information is getting to be current. Now, for the weekly breakdown, weekly reports, the first one we're going to look at is the employee weekly breakdown, which is our next report here. Now, this is a great report because here we get to see for each employee how many clients did they see during the date range, how many services they do, what type of service, were they style service, treatments, waxings, colors, what kind of services were done. And as you look across, you get to see also how much they sell in retail, how much they sell in services, their totals, their averages. Again, a great kind of a weekly report. Make sure that our employees are performing to their potential. The next weekly report we talked about was the employee hours. We'll take a look at that. Now here, This is great because we can make sure that, first of all, for our hourly employees, that we have their correct clock in and clock out times, their hours are correct. But also, if you are using this for your employees who are not hourly, that maybe they're commission-based or booth rent, then this will also help you to see, how often are they there, how long are they at their chair, and so forth. So it'll help you to kind of make sure they're maximizing their time. And the final weekly report is going to be the hours by schedule type, which in this particular report is called the roster type hours. Again, it's the same thing. Here we get to see all of our information based on the actual schedule that we created in Shortcuts. So did they have a day off? Did they have a vacation day? Did they have a sick day? And we'll be able to take a look for each employee, how many hours were scheduled for them for that week, and what type of hours were they. This way we can take a look and make sure that we're getting our proper hours entered in. Now for our monthly reports, we're going to take a look here. The first one is the service breakdown by category. And this one is a great report because it will allow us to see each of our services based on the category that they're in, and we'll see how many times each service was done, how much was charged for each one, the averages for it, percentages to the overall revenue, and so forth. It's going to be a great report because you get to take a look, see, what services you're really performing well, what maybe need a little more help, or maybe some more advertising. Maybe you do a little advertising for specials or coupons you may send out. Try to get those additional reports, additional services to perform a little bit better. Now, the next monthly report we're going to look at here is going to be the client retention. Now here, this report is going to be great because we get to see for each employee how many clients they have. Of those clients, how many return to them, or how many return, see here's, how many return to the same employee, how many returned but went to a different employee, and how many were totally retained and how many were totally lost. As we can see here, obviously, we have some problems with retention in this particular environment. Again, this is just done as a demonstration, which is why we see so many zeros. A lot of times you may see zeros like this if the date range you have selected is too close to the current day. You want to make sure that the date range is no closer than, say, 90 days or 6 weeks to the current day, so that we can have time for the client to have left and have come back. And that's how our retention looks. It looks at who was here and then who came back after the time that they've been here. Now the final report that we want to look at is the product sales summary. We'll take a look at that here. Now the product sales summary is another great report because it'll show you for all of your products how many was sold, what was the minimum that you charged for it, what was the maximum you charged for it, the average sales for it, the total sales for it. Again, this way you can make sure that you're charging the proper amount, that you're not devaluing your product list at all, and that you're making sure that you don't have any products listed there that are just not performing, they're not being sold at all. Again, if you do see something like that, you may want to consider doing discounts or promotions of some kind to get people interested in those products. Now we'll go ahead and come back here. So here we get to see we have covered the best practices for opening and closing procedures. We've covered our must-have details for updating our client records for the phone numbers and our emails. And also we looked at our reports for the daily, weekly, and monthly reporting. Any future webinars you may be interested in will be listed in our website, which is shortcuts.net/webinar. You want to go ahead and take a look at that from time to time and see what will be coming up in our future webinars. Also, to catch this and any past webinars, if you may have interest in, you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/shortcutsusa. We do have an offer today for the webinar. If you believe that you have a friend in the industry who may benefit from the Shortcuts software, have them give us a call, or you can call them on the phone and have them there with you if they're, say, a little bit shy for whatever reason. And if they do sign up to be a client, then both of you will get 3 months free of Shortcuts. All they need to do is simply, if they call in on their own, they just simply need to mention your name, and then we will honor the promotion till the end of June this year. At this point, we'd normally do a little question and answer time, but this is just a simple recording, so we don't have any actual attendees here. If you do have any questions about this webinar, you can contact me directly. My name is Richard Ackerman, and my email address is richard.ackerman@shortcuts.net. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/shortcutsusa. And additionally, you can also find us on the web at www.shortcutsusa.com. www.shortcuts.net. If you'd also like to contact us directly, our number is 714-622-6600. Thank you very much for attending our webinar today, and I hope you have a great day.